Hello, I'm Kelsey Lantz, the Education Manager at the Rocky Mountain MS Center. From the evaluations that patients and support partners fill out for us, we know that nutrition is a hot topic for people with MS. Today, I'm bringing you a video talking about nutrition, MS, and how you can stay on track with your goals this holiday season. Now, no diet has been shown to have direct effects on MS disease activity. What we do know is that you can use a healthy lifestyle to manage and prevent other comorbidities that could have an impact on how MS affects you. We now know that the human brain has a tremendous capacity to repair itself and recover from damage. For people with MS, giving the brain that chance for maximum health is a two-pronged endeavor. We need to slow the disease down enough so that the innate repair systems in the brain can catch up, and we need to optimize the functioning of that repair system. Research studies have shown that living with MS and other health problems has been associated with more severe disability, faster disability progression, and a higher mortality. For more information about all of this, please check out the fall 2020 issue of Informs called Food for Thought. The Mediterranean diet is actually more of an eating pattern than a traditional diet. It's high in vegetables, fruits, whole grains, beans, nuts and seeds, and olive oil. The diet includes daily consumption of vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and healthy fats, weekly intake of fish, poultry, beans, and eggs, moderate portions of dairy products, and limited intake of red meat. Meals are built around plant-based foods. Wine is also okay. Now, I don't know about you all, but October to December tends to be a food free-for-all for me. There are so many special treats and fun opportunities to celebrate with food. The holidays are supposed to be a festive time, but many people feel anxiety and regret around food and drink. This year, even before the holiday season, I have certainly indulged in a little comfort food over the last 7 months to ease stress, and I'm aware that I could turn to food this winter as I have even less opportunity to be social when the weather limits outdoor options. Plus, I love pumpkin and peppermint. They are my kryptonite. So we probably won't be attending quite as many gatherings this year, but I do think these tips are generally good to consider and apply to any common food situation. Not everyone is concerned about their weight, but if you are, you can gain 2 to 3 pounds over the holiday season just by consuming 200 extra calories a day, which is incredibly easy to do. If you're concerned about weight gain, food is the thing to focus on. Exercise alone is not a great weight management strategy. Many of these tips are common sense, but I think they are always good to be reminded of and to hear. Of course, you don't have to follow all of them, but keeping a few in your back pocket will be helpful. And if you've only got one holiday gathering this year and you totally overdo it, it's not the end of the world. Every day is a new chance to make better choices. No one bad decision ruins your health. What you do every day matters more than what you do once in a while. And that goes for both good choices and unhealthy ones. I think the number one thing you can do is to think ahead. Think about your strategy before you're in front of the food. This goes for gatherings or even just how you want to end the year. It could be planning to use some of the strategies I'm about to go over, or it could be that you plan to use the strategy of planned exceptions. When you plan out an exception to your norm, you give yourself permission to indulge and you give it an end time. It will be easier to jump back into your healthy routine if you planned to indulge in something, rather than thinking that you've just blown your whole day or week or, heaven forbid, month. This allows you to look forward to the treat with pleasure rather than anxiety, to enjoy it in the moment, and to feel good later for keeping to your goals. Really take a second to put yourself in future you's shoes and think about how pleased you'll be that you stuck to your guidelines for yourself. In a similar vein, watch out for loopholes for getting out of your original plan. Remember, everything counts. When you're thinking ahead, it's important to know yourself. I borrowed this concept from Gretchen Rubin, who is a great writer on habit strategies. You can check out her book Better Than Before if this topic interests you. So, know yourself. Is it easier for you to moderate or abstain? For some foods, I can moderate and savor a small portion, like stuffing. But for other foods, I have to say no altogether or recognize that it's going to be hard to stop on my own. Hello, chips and salsa at a restaurant. You're a moderator if you find that occasional indulgences heighten your pleasure and strengthen your resolve, or if you get panicky at the thought of never getting or doing something. But you might be an abstainer if you have trouble stopping once you've started, or are less tempted by things once you've decided they're completely off limits. You can be an abstainer for some things and a moderator for others. The key is knowing yourself. So I have a trick question for you. Does one coin make a person rich? Of course, one cookie, no big deal. That's true, but you do have to be wary of this argument. Do you think that 10 coins makes a person rich? If not, what if you add one coin? What if you add another? Finally, you will have to say that no one can be rich unless one coin can make him so. Often when we consider our actions, it's clear that any one instance of an action is almost meaningless. Yet, at the same time, the sum of those actions is very meaningful. If you skip the gym once, it's no big deal. But if it becomes your habit to skip the gym, that will have a larger impact. Whether we focus on the single coin or the growing heap will shape our behavior. When we're trying to find excuses for ourselves, it's easy to point out the low value of one coin. By reminding ourselves that the golden heap grows one coin at a time, we can make better long-term decisions. So, what can you do? You can offer to bring a dish to a holiday gathering, maybe even something from the Mediterranean diet, and that way you know there'll at least be one healthy thing that you can eat without consideration. You can look up healthy swaps for the dishes that you will be making, maybe a lower fat content milk or applesauce or Greek yogurt in place of something higher calorie, fat, or sugar. Can you get away with mashed cauliflower instead of mashed potatoes? What about roasted sweet potatoes dusted with cinnamon and a small amount of brown sugar instead of the traditional candied sweet potato casserole? If you're putting out a meat and cheese platter, add other options like olives, peppers, artichokes, or tomatoes, or any other veggie. Consider a shrimp cocktail instead of fried shrimp for appetizers. The Mediterranean diet also has a lot of delicious, indulgent side dish options, like date, apricot, and wild rice casserole, medjool date truffles, artichokes steamed in wine, shrimp with lemon and garlic, creamy Greek olive and feta dip, slow-cooked butternut squash and apples, hummus, flourless chocolate cake, or roasted fruit with Greek yogurt. Now, note that my suggestions are not completely healthy with no sugar and no fat. They're still holiday indulgences that will feel rich and enjoyable, but they are lower in things that you might want to avoid, like sugar, saturated fat, and calories, so that it doesn't all add up to wrecking your nutrition goals. When you're at a party, be choosy about what you eat. Take a glance at the whole spread before deciding what you're most interested in eating. If the brownies are calling your name, enjoy one, but don't also add a sugar cookie if you don't even really like sugar cookies. Personally, I never drink soda at a party because I'd rather have dessert. I also quit eating rolls with holiday meals because they don't add much to the meal for me, and it leaves more room for dessert. One strategy might be to pick out one indulgence that screams Thanksgiving or Christmas, and then look forward to that. For me, it's a peppermint white chocolate mocha at Starbucks. That is a 500 calorie, 72 grams of sugar drink. But I pick the first cold and snowy day in December and I run to get one. And I savor it and I enjoy it. But I don't get it more than once or maybe twice a season, and definitely not on my way to a holiday party. Don't skip meals all day so that you can save up to splurge on party food. You will likely be overly hungry, you will overeat on high calorie things, and you won't enjoy them as much because of your hunger. Once you've got a plate of food, don't stand by the food table. Purposefully move away to socialize so that it's harder to just grab something else. If you want to go the extra mile, pop a Tic Tac or something after you're done to cleanse your mouth of the taste of food. Monitor your alcohol intake. Most drinks are high calorie, especially holiday drinks. And after a few glasses of alcohol, you're much more likely to make food choices that you wouldn't make completely sober. Try having a glass of water in between each alcoholic drink. I will sometimes indulge in my favorite beverage, and then if I'm going to have a second drink, it's something that is a little lower calorie and maybe not my favorite thing, so I drink it a little bit slower, but I still feel like I'm enjoying the party. If you like really sugary and complicated drinks, consider enjoying one without the alcohol to cut the calories. I love peppermint white hot chocolate, and it tastes pretty similar whether I use sugar-free peppermint flavoring or peppermint schnapps. So in some instances, I just use the flavoring. You can bring back the wine spritzer. Replace half of your wine with club soda to spread out the calories. There are lots of variations and fruit additions that you can use to spice the spritzer up. Now, let's talk food pushers. If you're talked into taking leftovers that you know you won't be happy about eating, be gracious, and then don't feel bad about tossing them. Seriously, you made the other person happy by taking them. You enjoyed a portion or two, and if you were forced into taking them, no one else was going to eat them. So it's okay to toss before they make you feel bad. The person will never know. Or when someone tries to push food on you, talk about the benefits you're experiencing from eating more healthfully. Saying something like, I've noticed I have so much more energy when I cut down on my processed sugar. It's been great to not have the 3 p.m. slump. Might make them think twice about forcing the plate of cookies on you. You could also try negotiating. I'll take one container, either the cookies or the mashed potatoes. This way you're not saying no, but you're also not getting overloaded. Also works for food pushers during a meal. Oh, I'll feel better later if I have either a glass of wine or a dessert, and I'd rather have a dessert. You may not be faced with as many gatherings or travel this year, but that could add to emotional distress and sadness, and that could lead to overeating at home. We have a few mental health resources on our COVID-19 education page, which may help give you some ideas and perspective about dealing with stress. Unfortunately, overindulging is a short-term fix for stress and emotional distress. Look for alternative ways to connect to and to feel your feelings. It might be helpful to think about future you again and how you'll feel after you overdo it, and then to recognize that it won't change the underlying causes of what's making you upset. If you catch yourself wanting to fill a void with food, consider giving yourself permission, but only after you do some deep breathing or something distracting, like taking a walk around the block. You're likely to eat less if you've given the emotions some space already. And I know that sounds hokey, but the reason this advice keeps coming up is because it actually works. Just try it once. If it doesn't work for you, move on. If you're missing a normal holiday tradition, try to focus on what you are able to do this year, or think of a creative way to make the traditional activity safe. Can you start a Zoom session with your siblings and everyone watches that Christmas movie together online? Can you find a great neighborhood to walk around with friends outdoors to look at Christmas lights? There's often lists of great neighborhoods online. Masks are going to be nice and warm for outdoor activities this year. And I know that Zoom is not a substitution for actually visiting family, but if you aren't able to travel this year, a video call might help a little. You can organize a group activity through the video call so that it's not just a free-for-all if that stresses you out. Really take some time to identify the things that you are grateful for this holiday season and think of ways that you can make it special that aren't based around festive food. However, sometimes a holiday treat is the perfect cure for a glum evening. But be really conscious about what you're doing. Recognize that you're filling an emotional hole with something that's food or drink. Think about it, plan for how much you're going to indulge, and then get back to your plan the next day. And if you've done this a few times already this season, try to think about something else to do. And sometimes that something else is just taking an off night to be sad. There's going to be some sad moments this holiday season, as we've all experienced over the last 6 months. If you like to make holiday treats, like I do, make your favorite treat, and you can make it with or without healthy swaps, but package up the majority of it immediately to be delivered to friends or family. Now, that being said, try to respect if others have expressed that they are not interested in a lot of sweets. When I gift out food, I usually keep the portion size small. I give out 2 servings per person in the household that I know will eat it, instead of a whole or even a half batch of things. Keep in mind that lots of people are gifting perishable, time-sensitive treats during the holidays. Make the healthier choice easier and more convenient for yourself. Buy smaller packages, eat on smaller plates, dish up smaller serving sizes, and walk away from food once you've filled your plate. That includes your own kitchen. Now, if you've got a lot of events in a week, focus on the meals that you get to control and make those as healthy as you can. If you're traveling away from your normal kitchen and routines, plan ahead for what you will be able to control. Can you pack healthier snacks? Will you be in charge of your own breakfast? What types of things can you request from your host? Personally, I would be excited if a guest had a request or two so that I knew what to make and have on hand. Now, many holiday food and drinks feel like they are a limited time thing, and you must eat them now or never. But really, you can make most of them at any time. Even though there's not giant aisles of pumpkin year-round, they do sell it year-round. Just remembering that I could make pumpkin bread in May, even if I don't actually ever do it, helps me rein in the urge to overdo it now. Identify things that are truly limited and plan your indulgence. For instance, this year I've seen a couple of treats that different baked goods companies are making that look really good, and so I bought a couple of them, and I've stashed them in the freezer already for later. If possible, suggest an activity that isn't completely centered on food to enjoy with people. My birthday is Christmas Eve, so December has customarily been so full of celebration foods. I started a new tradition with my family, playing Minute to Win It games on Christmas Eve, and it has been a blast. I really like the Minute to Win It games because they get people up and moving as well. But there are tons of other group party games out now, some more PG than others. A couple of good ones: Telestrations, Apples to Apples, Codenames, You Don't Know Jack Trivia. And many of these games also have an online version, so you can play with family that you aren't with. Now, although you can't out-exercise a bad diet, it will do you well to keep active during the season when you can. You'll feel better, and when you feel better, you're able to make better choices for your health overall. I am really committed to walking 10,000 steps a day, which means several 10 to 15 minute walk breaks throughout the day. So I'm going to When I'm with family and friends, I try and get them to go on a walk around the block with me. Works particularly well if I'm in a new neighborhood and I get to see new sights. They might be surprised at how refreshing a trip outside can be. Maybe your goal is just to get in 10 minutes of purposeful movement every day. Yoga, playing with a pet or a sibling or a child. But also, if you're feeling fatigued, make sure that you get in a nap or a rest. If you're overly tired, you're not going to make great food choices either. All of the aspects of health are so related, and you can make little changes to several areas to reap bigger benefits. Above all, I want to end on a note of compassion. No one gets it right all the time. That's totally fine and totally human. Everyone gets to make whatever choice they want about their wellness every day. It's not tied to how you did yesterday, and it doesn't matter how good you think you'll do tomorrow. Just because we have a choice between healthy and not doesn't mean it's an easy one. Have some grace with yourself, kindly reflect on what happened and what you would have liked to do differently, and focus on your next choice. Thank you.